Yo, what is up, YouTube? Brody here again, all here again, back from another session. I just got out of a cool session with this artist called Veronica Lee, and I wanted to talk about what I did today. I did a lot of techniques in this song that I'm always talking about in my videos, and I wanted to make a video specifically about this and about my approach to layering and texture and world building, immersion, adding your own flavor to a song. And I think that this is a perfect example to show that with you guys. I think like how you as a songwriter can find your own character, your own personality, your own like signature, I guess, within songwriting. And that is your textures, your ambience, your layering, not just like, oh, extra rhythm guitar layers, other leads, but like the sounds you do and like the way you add layers that are felt rather than heard. Kind of a bit of a ramble here, but I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about my approach to layering, my approach to taking a simple chord progression and melody and turning it into a really dense, lush, unique to you sound. So I want to kind of run through, I'll play the chorus here and play that for you guys. It's pretty cool, pretty straightforward, washy, shoegazy kind of thing. There is a chord progression that is very simple, plays on loop the whole song. We wanted that like hypnotic, droney kind of thing. And I think that what keeps the interest factor in something that's that repetitive is all the layering, all of the texture, all of the ambience that makes you pick up on different things that are happening way in the back of the mix on like your fifth or sixth listen. So I'm going to go ahead and play through, and then I'm going to play through the core of it where I feel like normally you would stop. And then I will introduce all the new things that we added. So yeah, the chorus of this song sounds like this. Yeah, very dense, a lot happening. I felt like this song is an extreme example of what I'm talking about. So I thought this was the perfect way to kind of show all the layering and all the things going in. Like I said, dizzying, a lot going on, a lot of swirling sounds and textures and different things that make what is simple single note riff this huge thing. At its core, we have the rhythm guitar. Really cool tone. I love how it sounds. It's my Tysco guitar behind me here, going into my PV VTM 120. We add bass guitar, both just playing straightforward eighth note at our drums. Second half of the hook, we have this lead guitar that comes in. Already a cool idea there. That lead guitar has a lot of like delay and reverb and that like self-oscillation thing happening towards the end. A lot of texture already. And that could stand on its own, just these parts. This is like the band, your rhythm guitar, your bass, your lead guitar, your drums. You can find a lot of depth within like the tones. Like we took a long time figuring out the exact drum tones we wanted to use, the like exact like fuzzy single notey guitar tone that we wanted to use, the weird lead. And we did shape that and find like uniqueness within the tones we gathered there. But I felt like there's so much more room, so much frequency spectrum, so many ideas we wanted to build into. I use this word world building a lot. Right now, this is just a song that exists. But then everything else that I'm about to show you, I think is putting that song within a place. The different tonalities, the different sounds, the different pads, ambiences, textures are like the setting of the song, the like imagery, the sounds that evoke like a lyrical idea or a feeling or like a memory. Like, I don't know, it sounds kind of corny, but I think that that's really where I specifically find a lot of self-expression and is the world surrounding the song. From there, I wanted there to be a little bit of an uneasy feeling to this. So layering that, I did a layer with my bass 6. I have this Squire bass 6, which I've made a video about as well, that is an octave down from my Tysco guitar. I took that and I played the same guitar part an octave down, but instead of making it single note, I did like a power chord root and fifth kind of thing, just to add some more like unintelligible, gross kind of sounds to it. And then it gets this sound. I'll remove the main guitar for you to hear. Very gross. It adds like a little bit of tension, a little bit of like unsureness to the song, I think. Bass 6. I next add this layer of just like a pedal tone, like chord that I'm playing the whole time through. It sounds like this. Especially because we're not playing chords, it's really just power chords or single notes for the hook. I wanted to add some like big, beautiful chord to add like a mood to it. And because the chord progression is a little more on the minor side, a very pretty sounding chord, I think combines and makes this really cool emotion. So now we have... which I think does a lot more for storytelling, for mood setting, for the emotion than just... So yeah, that's all of our like typical guitar layers. So we add the regular guitar, the bass 6, that pedal tone, and then the lead. Really dense, really thick, really cool. From there though, I added a few other guitar layers that are ambience. It sounds like this. And now I feel like this is where we're getting into the more like ambient side of things. I started off with this sound, which came from kind of like a B-side of another idea that I had. I initially made a riff that sounded like this that I was going to use as one of the guitar layers. It's like a really high octave, high delay kind of thing. But eventually it didn't sit in the mix well for me, but I liked the note choices of it. I liked the mood of it. So I added halftime to it and then added some reverb, some delay, tucked it down in the mix, and got this sound that is, again, much more felt than heard once you add all the guitars in. You don't notice it too much. If you have headphones on, you notice it as some more swirling side information, which I think is really cool. That's like the, oh, you come back on another listen and you notice the world that it's in. I think it just kind of adds like a pedal tone again. Like it's happening pretty much the whole song except for one section. And it's just like the background, especially if you add it with like bass and drums. Just a really nice mood to it. I love doing that. I love the test of like soloing a couple random elements of the song. And if those sound like a song or a section on their own, I feel like it's a good sign that all of your parts individually are cool. The other guitar ambience that I made was this. Love this sound. Same idea as the last one of filling in space, creating a world for it. This is a trick that if you know my videos, you know I do all of the time. And it's an infinite reverb. What I do is I play a chord or a note or a couple of notes on my guitar with my reverb pedal set to the max. I have a Boss RV500 and it allows me to do an infinite reverb tail. So I'll play the notes and let that loop. And the cool thing about the way that the Boss reverb works is there's kind of like a re-triggering that happens. So you get a slight bit of momentum of like rhythm. You can kind of hear that. I just love the sound. It's a really pure, simple sound, and it's like, I don't know, cool template for making cool ideas. Cool template for trying different notes, different sounds going into that. And together with those, we have this happening behind the whole song. The next step of all of the sound shaping that I did, if you watch my videos, know that I'm using all of the time, and that's acoustic guitar. I don't think it's a hot take that acoustic guitar is cool in rock music, but I really love using the acoustic guitar in places that are a little more heavy or less intimate sounding, less what you would imagine an acoustic guitar would fit in, like a more shoegazy song or a metal song or something that has a lot of aggression to it. I think that contrast to me is really interesting and can add an intimacy or a cool emotional twist to an otherwise just angry or melancholy song. This is what all the acoustic guitar layers sound like. Start off with one of my favorites. Again, a staple of this channel if you watch through it, but I use a lot of the time for a more vocal, string-like, theremin-like, very emotion-heavy sound in my songs. I will use on my acoustic guitar a guitar slide and an Ebow. And what that does is allows the guitar to kind of just sing in a way. It's the guitar slide on the fretboard removes any of the note switching between the frets, so that side becomes smooth. And then the Ebow, you place it on the string, turn it on, it resonates your guitar strings. It will remove the pick attack. So it takes the guitar and it turns it into this very flowing song. It's one of those fun tricks I like to do because it always sounds ridiculous by itself. It gets people's attention like in the studio and they're like, wait, what is that? What is going on? But then you put it in the song in context and it really fits in such a nice way. It feels like an awesome combination of feelings. I'll play that Ebow sound with the drum and bass and some of the other guitar ambience so you can hear. You can hear it left and right. Just playing simple melodies on both sides. From there, I have this layer, which is the same thing, but with halftime. Sometimes I just want that lower octave. I want to fill in the lower frequencies that higher one isn't. And I think when you pitch it down an octave, it becomes a little more ghostly. Whereas like the high pitched one is crying, this one is like quieter about it. Really cool sound. Again, dramatic words. I feel like I'm being over the top with my wording and like talking about the different emotions within writing. But I think the more vividly you paint a picture or talk about it, the more it can show through in your writing. Like, I think that is the purpose of creating music, is to like invoke feelings. So making your sounds invoke that as much as possible, and thinking about the feeling that the sounds you're making makes you feel. Confusing sentence, but thinking about how what you're writing makes you feel and trying to put that into words helps a lot with writing. Like if I think, for example, oh, that kind of sounds like it's like a softer cry, for example, then that gives me a setting, that gives me a mood, that gives me an emotion, then I can build all of my song to fit that, or make sure the song does the opposite if that's not what I'm trying to do. I like using words like that. I like thinking about the behind the scenes, the like feelings, the connotations of what I'm doing. Next guitar layer is this. Simple, just the guitar, just the chord progression with full big pretty chords. Next we have a few other layers. We have this lead that happens every now and then. This one is it pitched down an octave with Little Altar Boy. Specifically used Little Altar Boy because its tracking isn't the best for things that are polyphonic, so you can hear it get glitchy like that. I think it sounds really cool. Next is that without the effect on it. Just regular guitar lead. Then for some of the sections without drums and bass, I added a layer where I played the bass line on the guitar and pitched it down an octave, so it kind of sounds like an upright bass. I also intentionally compressed it a bunch and played it a little sloppy, like I hit some extra notes within it because I wanted it to have this like shaky, vibrational, weird low-end rumble thing happening. Which again, intentional choice for the mood that I was trying to build. So yeah, with all of the acoustic guitar together, get some really nice sounds. again, that's an entire song within this song that you might not even listen to or notice for a lot of listens. Like, it happens on its own in the intro, but over the hook, like, first listen through, you're going to notice the guitar, the drums, the bass, the vocal melody when the vocals are recorded. But I would challenge you to listen through this again now after I've shown all of the layers versus your initial listen at the start of the video to see what kinds of things you noticed that you didn't notice the first time. And then also thinking from the artist's perspective, when you're in the room, hearing the song be made, hearing all of these layers that are adding to the song, think about the perspective and the inspiration you can get lyrically from that. Whereas if it was just the simple production and you're writing to it, you're like, okay, you're kind of having to think more inward about your inspiration or what the song can be about. But hearing all of these different ideas, hearing all these different sounds, all these different textures that evoke different memories, emotions, etc., like I've mentioned, that can be such a start for your lyricism. I found in this session specifically, there are a few layers that I started working on and the artist immediately was like, oh, that gives me this lyrical idea. And that's like such a cool moment. That's like why I do a lot of this, is to try to be that light bulb moment. Like, as the producer, I'm not just making the instrumental. I'm not just making this. I'm trying to build a space to let ideas flow and let an entire song be written. And I don't know. That's why I do it. That's why I think it's important to take this attention to detail to an otherwise simple song. You and the artist might be the only ones to ever know exists within the song. That is like the extra sauce, the extra like seasoning on top that takes a good song to a great song. And I think that's the whole point of this video is, here's my approach to finding uniqueness in a song and really making sure every element of this song is doing what I want it to do intentionally. And whether that's adding a lot of ambience, whether that is your sound selection, whether that's whatever, it's fun to think through and be intentional with all of your choices. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a good rest of the day. And with that being said, peace out.